Hi, I am Professor Sharon Bolman at UAT, and today we're here to talk about rotting flesh. This is my model, Alex Broderick. All right, so here's what we'll be using for our rotting flesh today. We'll be needing spirit gum remover, cotton balls, a bruise wheel, foundation in the same color tones as our model, liquid latex, brushes, triangle sponge. We'll also be using a blow dryer and color set powder to create a rotting flesh effect. So to get started, I'm just going to use a little bit of spirit gum and some cotton balls that we have already torn up. All right, so we just put a little bit of spirit gum and attach a cotton ball. And you want to have your cotton balls sort of ripped into tiny little pieces so that when you tear it off, because you're going to tear a lot of it off, it doesn't take as long to tear off. And you just put them in sort of a random pattern. And just tack the ends down. They don't need to be completely covered with spirit gum because we're going to cover it later with liquid latex for the actual effect. And if your fingers start getting too spirit gummy, just have a little wipe with spirit gum removers on it so that your fingers can stay clean. When you use cotton, use real cotton instead of the drugstore. You'll see bags that look like cotton balls that say they're cosmetic puffs. They are synthetic and they don't look as organic on the skin. They don't break the same. So you want to use actual real cotton when you're doing this with cotton balls. You can also do the same effect with ripped up little pieces of tissue paper. And it'll be a little more subtle. And you'll get a little more spirit gum on your fingers, but it does work just as well for a rotting flesh effect. And the rotting flesh technique is good for things like chemical burns, zombies, start darkening in the eyes. You can also do a extreme old age makeup with this same technique. If you're going to do old age, the tissue paper works a little better. And we're just going to continue to cover his face with cotton balls. And you want your model to be clean shaven, because when you take off the liquid latex, it'll pull the hair out by the roots. And you just want to give the spirit gum a couple of seconds to dry. It's not going to take too long. And then start thinking about how you want the final look for your rotting flesh. So if we left this much cotton on, it would take a lot of liquid latex to cover, and it would be a very bubbly kind of effect. So instead, I'm going to take some of the cotton off, which is why we wanted the spirit gum to dry. So I'm just going to anchor it down so I don't pull the entire thing off. And then just take out big chunks of it. And again, you want to make sure that your fingers do not have any lingering bits of spirit gum on them, because then the cotton just transfers to you and doesn't stay on your model's face. And again, that look of the cotton, it tears very organically, it's uneven, it looks natural. As natural as the rotting flesh is going to look. Just keep whittling away until we kind of get the look that we want. Now realize when you do put the latex on, it's going to dampen down the cotton balls even more, so it will be a softer effect than what we see right here. It's okay to have some loose edges, because then we can make those look like skin flaps, but we don't want too much. Leave this piece right here, sort of make it look like that muscle from the nasolabial fold is detaching from the rest of his face. So we're going to make that piece right there sort of a bridge once we apply the liquid latex. That's probably enough to give us a nice effect, not be too lumpy or overblown. So our next step is to take liquid latex and just cover the cotton. A couple of things about liquid latex: make sure you test your model to make sure they are not allergic to it before you put it all over their face. The best place to test is the inside of the wrist. Just leave it on for 5 minutes, peel it off, make sure there is no reaction. They do make sensitive skin latex substitutes. Those are out there, and they are a good idea to have in your kit in case your model is allergic to the latex. Don't want to find out that you're allergic to latex when it's all over your face. That would be uncomfortable. And you want to cover every single bit of the cotton ball and go a little bit onto the skin. And again, make sure you have some sort of makeup remover wipe or cotton ball soaked in spirit gum remover to keep your hands clean so that you don't start getting too sticky while you're doing your application. Liquid latex does smell really bad, as does spirit gum. It's just one of those things. And when you're going onto the skin, you just want to feather it a little, but leave it uneven. You don't want just a huge stripe, because you do want it to have that organic, natural look. Just going to leave that one flopping around so that it looks like flesh that's peeling down. And so we're just going to continue applying liquid latex to the entire area. I always like to start at the top and work down. It's good to build it in a pattern. That way, as it dries, you can see where you missed. Avoid your model's eyebrows. Again, liquid latex will pull hair out by the roots. All right, our next step is to blow dry the liquid latex. You can let it dry naturally, but it does take a really long time. The important part is that your blow dryer has a cool setting, not just low, but actually cool, and that's on all the time. So we just turn the blow dryer to low, and then we're gonna blow dry the face until it's just not tacky anymore. All right, once the liquid latex is dry, we're going to start adding color. So we're going to take 2 colors of foundation. We're going to take the color that's close enough, or as close to his face, natural color that we have. But notice how white the liquid latex and cotton balls is. So when we put this on, it's not going to look as close to his natural color as we would like it to. So we're going to take a shade darker so that we can add some contours and shadows with that. Just go ahead and get your triangle sponge. All right, so we're just going to take the shade that's closest to his natural color and put it all over. And remember to take it out onto the flesh as well, so that you don't have any just really abrupt lines. And when you're applying with your triangle sponge, it's more of a dab than trying to spread. Try not to get too much makeup in your model's hair. Right now we're just going for full coverage. Get all of the latex and cotton covered up, and then we can assess and look from there. You can use red grease paint for this stage if you want to do a chemical burn or a regular burn. And that makes a really creepy effect as well. Now what happens if you don't get liquid latex over all of the cotton is this step becomes really, really hard because the cotton doesn't behave in the same way the liquid latex does. So when you're doing the liquid latex, be really patient with that, and this step will go a lot better. And again, going for coverage at this point, just moving it on as quickly as possible. And then start working on the details once everything is covered. Gently and slowly around the eyes. Again, making sure you take some of the makeup into the eye area. And we'll work on the eyes later, but I want to have some foundation there to start. All right, so now we have our basic foundation on. It's not perfect, it's not flaw-free, but it's where we can start adding detail and making it fun. So we're going to take a basic bruise wheel and just a little brush, basic bruise wheel, little brush, and start adding in some shadow with the black. Just a little dab of black, and then find one of these areas where we've made it sort of deep anyway. Just carefully add some black in there so it looks like it's popping out and peeling off even more. Just giving it a little more depth. And some of the places will leave black, and some will come in with that slightly lighter, darker shade of foundation. Just going to take a little bit of color set powder and set the grease paint that we've been using. And I like to use a big fluffy brush. A lot of people like to use a puff, either is fine. When you're applying color set powder, you dab, you don't brush. Go ahead and close your eyes. And it's gonna get on your model's clothes. Doesn't stain. And it will look white. It's okay, it'll absorb. So don't freak out. Or some people like to apply it with the puff and then wipe it off with the brush, whichever you like to do. But this will keep the grease paint from melting off. And it looks a little white and powdery. You can use a little bit of moisture on a paper towel to dab up the rest. But on a warm day, it will absorb very, very, very quickly. If we want to do any finishing touches just to make things look a little creepier, if you have time left over, back to our bruise wheel, we're going to just take a little bit of red and add some red around the ligature, the ligament that's coming out here. If you want to make it really gruesome, you can just go ahead and dump a whole bunch of fake blood all over everything. But if you want to be more subtle, just a little bit of red will make it pop without drawing too much attention to itself. And that is our rotting flesh.